Everything's great. You feel like you're doing all the right things finally, until you suddenly realize you're completely off track. Whether life smacked you with something big or you slowly drifted without even noticing. There's one thing I've learned. It's not about what knocked you off course, it's about how you reset. And this has happened to me more times than I want to admit. I'm going along, making progress, feeling like I'm finally on the path of my finances, and boom, chaos hits. Or worse, I realize that I've been drifting for weeks. And that's why I created the Holistic Wealth Reset, a 5-step process to help you get grounded, get clear, and start moving forward again. You can grab your own free copy. The link is in the description below. In this video, I'm sharing the exact 5-step process I follow every time I find myself getting off track to realign with my vision without starting from scratch. Because sometimes you don't need a new plan, you just need a reset. So the first step of the reset is just really simple, but it's one that most people skip. You've got to name the disruption. What actually knocked you off of track? What happened? Was it something sudden, like a crisis, or was it something that slowly crept in over time, like stress, decision fatigue, or just too much on your plate? The truth is, most of us try to jump straight into fixing the symptoms, but we never pause to acknowledge what actually caused the misalignment in the first place. And that's like trying to patch a leaky roof without ever finding the hole. For me, this disruption recently came in layers. It started with the anxiety spiral around deciding whether or not to join a coaching program. It was something I'd wanted for a long time, but I put the call off. I overthought every angle, and basically I just burned through an entire week just stressing about it. Then, right in the middle of that, I ended up bottle feeding a tiny, half-starved kitten that the neighbor dropped off at my house. This little baby needed attention every 4 to 5 hours. So now I was emotionally drained and physically exhausted, and I was completely off track by that time, and that alone would have been enough to throw me out of rhythm. But then we had a family member pass away unexpectedly, and that just hit hard. Sometimes it's the little things that start the drift. Other times it's a full-blown emotional hit out of nowhere. And sometimes, like in my case, it's both. It's just stacked on top of each other. Whatever it looks like for you, it's important to name it, because if you don't know what threw you off, you'll keep reacting to the surface level stuff instead of addressing the real cause. And for me, all of this was enough to pull me away from what I call my big rocks, the priorities of different stages of my life that move me in the direction that I want to go with my goals. Once you've named what got you off track, the next step is to figure out where that impact hit you the hardest. Because sometimes the thing that happened isn't the same as the thing that's out of alignment. You know what I mean? This is where we use what I call the 5 alignment anchors. These are 5 key areas of your life that need to stay in sync if you want to keep moving towards your vision of financial freedom. So here's what I call your alignment anchors. First is your vision for your life. Next is your energy and health, your time freedom, your income and finances, and the 5th one is your aligned actions, which is just a fancy way of saying the stuff that actually moves you towards your goals. So when one of these gets thrown off, then all the others will usually follow. Like maybe your income is steady, but your energy is tanked because you're not sleeping. Or maybe your calendar is full, but none of it supports your actual goals. And that's what this step helps you catch. For me, it wasn't just about the anxiety or the kitten or the funeral. It was that all of it had pulled me out of alignment in multiple areas. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't sticking to my routines. I wasn't creating content. And my vision, the goals that I actually want to accomplish, they just started feeling distant and foggy and like they were just beyond my reach. So Once you've identified the area that's most out of alignment, the next step is to rebuild your footing. And this is where we stop spinning and start anchoring. Because when things go sideways, the first things to fall apart are usually your foundational habits. The things that keep us feeling centered and focused and in control. And let me be real with you. When I drift, it usually shows up in my sleep, my food, my routines. I stop doing the little things that keep me steady, and I start reacting to everything instead of leading myself through it. And yeah, that means I don't sleep, I forget to eat, and I usually wake up, take care of the chickens, and go straight to work instead of doing any of the things that I know help me stay grounded on track with the vision I want to accomplish. No journaling, no stretching, no centering, just reactive hustle. And that energy carries over into everything else. So that means my finances take the hit too. When I'm not sleeping, not planning meals, and skipping my routines, I'm way more likely to overspend, avoid my budget, or ignore the numbers completely. I forget about the goals and priorities that I'm trying to reach, and I think more about just getting through the day. And when that happens, it's not just my habits that suffer, it's my financial clarity and confidence that starts to slip. And that's why the step matters. When you reclaim your foundation, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're protecting your progress. And if you haven't already downloaded the free Holistic Wealth Reset Guide, go grab it now, because it has sections for you to work through each of these steps. Actually do the work. And instead of just thinking about it or listening to me tell you about it, you'll find the link in the description below. So this step is simple. You're not trying to fix everything. You're choosing one small habit to restart. Something that supports your energy, your mindset, your routine, your finances, whatever works for you. It might be as simple as getting back to your morning routine, logging into your accounts to review your finances, prepping food instead of stopping for takeout on the way home, a 5-minute evening reset, journaling, taking a 10-minute walk instead of browsing Amazon and accidentally buying something. Whatever that version of foundational habits looks like for you, this is the time to reclaim it. So now that you've stabilized your foundation, it's time to look ahead intentionally, because here's what happens when we get off track. We start making short-term decisions with no long-term direction. We respond to the problems instead of moving forward with a purpose. And that's where your vision comes in. This isn't about manifesting or daydreaming. This is about remembering what you're working towards and choosing a goal that actually matters to you. I call this your keystone goal, the one goal that brings the structure to your chaos. The one thing that when you focus on it, naturally pulls everything right back into alignment. For example, if your long-term vision is to have more financial freedom and with your time, then your keystone goal might be paying off one major bill or building up a cushion that you can start saying yes to things that align with the life that you really want to be living. The point is, it's not about doing more, it's about making different choices that align with your life's vision. And the last step is the one that we need the most, but it's also the step that's almost always forgotten and skipped. And that's to give ourselves permission to reset with grace, with power, and without guilt. Because here's the truth. Most of us don't fall off track just once. We fall off over and over again. And if every time we mess up, we treat it like failure, we burn out before we ever reach the goals that we care about. We start telling ourselves, I'm not cut out for this, that I'm just too inconsistent, I'm undisciplined, that maybe I'll never get it right. But let me tell you something. Your words have power. And if those are the stories you're telling yourself, of course it's going to feel impossible to reset and start again. Here's the truth. Resetting isn't a setback. It's a skill. It's how you take your power back without starting from scratch every single time. I've had to reset more times than I can count. In my finances, in my routines, in my mindset. But the turning point for me was when I stopped making it mean that I was a failure, that I couldn't do this. And instead, I started seeing it as just part of the process. And the Wealth Reset Guide is something I use personally in my own life every single time I get off track. So don't forget to download it for yourself. Instead of beating yourself up, instead of getting stuck in those negative belief spirals, just breathe. Just start again. Just reset. But the reset process is just the beginning. If you want to build stronger, smarter financial habits, the kind that actually moves you towards wealth, watch this video next.